Hello, Rafael speaking.
Hello, Raphael. What's your favorite scary movie?
How do you know my name?
You just told me.
Oh, duh. Okay, who's this?
I want to know what your insides look like.
You want to know how my insides look like? Well, I'm a very emotional person, so I have many layers to me. So I'm not sure if you want to know that type of trauma. I mean, I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, so I don't know. What do you say?
I'm going to gut you like a fish.
Well, I mean, that sounds kind of kinky and all, but I'm not sure if I'm into all of that. So, wait, hold on. Can you give me 1 second? Someone's calling. Okay, do you think that you could call me within 20, 25 minutes? Like, yeah, maybe 30 minutes. Yeah, you could get to know my insides then because right now the pizza delivery guy is here and I'm going to watch this new movie right now. It's called Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah, I can't wait. I heard that all three Spider-Mans are in it. Yeah, no, I cannot wait. But no. You say you're in the bushes?
If you hang up on me, I'll kill you now instead.
Okay, well, make it 30 minutes. I'll try to eat fast and then you could come and get me then, okay?
Fine.
Okay. Okay, bye. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm Rafael and I'm here to review one of the most anticipated movies of the year, even though it's only January, and that movie is Scream, aka Scream 2022, aka Scream 5, aka 5 Cream. And I watched this movie the day that it came out, and I thought, you know what, let me give it a couple days to marinate because as soon as I left the movie theater, as soon as I watched it and I left the movie theater, I left shaking. Like, I left shook, I left gagged. I was just like, wait, I don't even know what to feel right now. Like, I know I feel good, but I just feel a little shaken right now. And I was a little paranoid too. Especially walking to my car in the parking lot. I'm like, wait a minute. Anybody could be a suspect here. Anybody could try to kill me. You know, I thought that I was the main character in my own movie. But I'm a big Scream franchise fanatic. I love the Scream movies. I've probably seen them like a million times. And I thought, okay, they're adding a new installment to this after what, 11 years? Because Scream 4 came out back in 2011. And I remember going to the movie theaters and seeing that and kind of being disappointed. So when this one came along, I'm like, okay, when I went into the movie theaters, my expectations were like through the roof. Like it was so through the roof where to the point where when I got to the movie theater and I had my ticket and everything, and I was trying to buy popcorn, I physically felt like I was going to throw up. Like, I was just so nervous. I'm like, please don't let me down. Please don't let me down. Please don't let this be trash. Because, again, I have my hopes up for Halloween 18, and the one that just came out last year, and I was let down both times. So I'm like, is this gonna go down the same route? I hope not. But let's start off with, the cast. I was originally pulled in because I'm like, okay, they're gonna add a new installment, and they're gonna have the original three, aka Sydney, Gail, and Dewey come back. That was their whole marketing thing. Like, oh, they're gonna come back. They're gonna come back. The final three. And I'm thinking, okay, one of them needs to die. One of them needs to go away. Like, even though I love all three characters, I'm like, I don't know. There needs to be like higher stakes. Like they can't just continue surviving every single movie or every single sequel as if they're like Power Rangers or something, or like they have all 7 of the Dragon Ball Z balls or something. They keep coming back every single movie without being untouched. By the way, there will be spoilers in this video, so that's just a warning right there. There will be spoilers. But continuing with the character callbacks, we also had Judy Hicks. She was a police officer from Scream 4 who would survive that movie, and so they brought her back into this one. And Marley Shelton, she's the actress that plays Judy Hicks. She is no stranger to horror movies. I'm not sure if anybody knows of her resume, but she was a final girl in her own horror movie back 20 years ago in the movie Valentine. And that is one of my favorite slasher horror movies ever. Like, I love watching it. It's something about it. It's just so early 2000s to it. And I just love the kills, and the mask was very creepy. That movie itself, that's a whole different subject. But if you haven't checked it out, or if you haven't checked out Judy Hicks in that movie, I suggest you do, because she was really good in that. So, horror movies are no strangers to her. But continuing with the rest of the cast, I actually enjoyed the cast. I mean, is it bad to say that I didn't actually miss Sydney, Gail, or Dewey that much throughout the entire movie? I mean, they didn't, even though they promoted the movie with those 3 specific characters, because obviously that's who the audience knows, I kind of didn't really miss them so much. I mean, I don't know if I could see the whole movie without their characters specifically being in the movie, at least for like 5 seconds. But I don't know. I think they did a pretty good job kind of just inserting the new characters and giving us a little backstory to them. I think that they could have had a little bit more camera time or a little bit more chemistry on screen. But for the most part, I think that they all did well. And I love that they were all connected to people in previous horror movies. Like, we had the twins. We had the twins that were the niece and nephew to Randy Meeks, who died in Scream 2. We had Vince, who I believe he was related to Stu, the killer in the first Scream movie, which I feel like they killed him off too easily. I'm like, really? I thought he was gonna be like a bigger plot or bigger importance in this movie, but I guess he wasn't. Wes was the son of Judy Hicks, which I thought was a good addition to Judy Hicks's character, because now they're giving her a motive to like be even more on edge or be even more paranoid about who's Ghostface, who's killing everybody, is my son next? So I thought that was a good character development when it came to Judy Hicks. And then we have the actual final girl, or at least I think is the final girl, which her name is Jenna Ortega. So I first got a glimpse of her in the show, in the Netflix show You, and I thought she was good in that show. So when they announced her to be on this, I'm like, okay, I'm excited to see what more she has to offer. And Jenna Ortega did really, really good. I think she did amazing. She embodied what felt like fear and what felt like paranoia all throughout the movie, especially at the beginning where the opening kills happen. So that's where we're going to go next. But before that, we also have Melissa Barrera, who played Jenna Ortega's sister. And you know, for the most part, I mean, her character was I want to say I liked it. I want to say I did like it, but I don't know. It's just some of her line delivery was just a little bit cringy for me. She'll be like, I know where Ghostface is at. We need to go to the house tonight, but we need to do it right now. My sister needs her inhaler. Let's get in the car. Are you driving? Like, that's how it came off every time she said her lines. And I'm like, I don't know. Is that the way you wanted to deliver it? I don't know. Even though we already know how these Scream openings usually are with somebody getting killed, Jenna Ortega made me feel paranoid and nervous in the movie theater while watching her performance. That's how good of an actress she was in this movie, because I was just looking around like, wait a minute, is somebody gonna get me? Is somebody in my popcorn? Is somebody behind me? Like, that's how I felt. And I kept looking at my friend like, you sure you don't have a knife in your pocket? You're looking a little suspicious. And then that's when we got the introduction to Ghostface. Now, Ghostface in this movie, I would want to say that they were a little bit more brutal than usual than the other movies, but I would not want to say too much, because in Scream 4, I don't think Ghostface has topped what he did to I forgot what her character was when he came out of the closet and he just stabbed her in the guts and took all her guts out and sprayed them all throughout the bed. I still don't think that Ghostface has matched that kill specifically. So in this movie, he was a little bit more brutal, because he grabbed Jenna Ortega and was just slamming her down, slamming her head to the counter and everything. I'm like, damn, Ghostface, what did she do to you? Like, does she owe you money? Like, he was just really giving it to her. And I'm thinking, okay, this is obviously going to be the opening kill. She's going to die. And that's it. And we're just going to move on to the next character. But no, she actually survived. So I actually thought that was an interesting spin on the whole opening, because out of all 5 movies, we have not had a survivor from the opening kill. So this was an interesting twist that they added to it that I actually enjoyed and was surprised by. Ghostface's performance in the opening kill was also really, really well. Shout out to Roger L. Jackson, because his voice is still iconic, still amazing, still everything. I mean, I just wanted him to call me. Like, call me Roger and threaten me, because his voice is just so menacing. It's so scary, so creepy. It will literally send a chill down your spine. And the whole entire time I'm thinking, Jenna Ortega, like, if you don't want to be threatened by this guy, just turn your Wi-Fi off, or just, stop answering the phone and go upstairs and call the police or something. Like, what are you doing? Which leads me to the next point of the movie, and that's the kills of the movie. And when they announced that they were going to make a new Scream movie, I'm thinking, okay, it's been 10 years since Scream 4. Obviously, whoever's making the movie, they're going to know, okay, we need to reinvent these kills. Obviously, Ghostface is going to be killing people off with his knife that he usually uses, but we need to be a little bit more, creative with the kills. Something needs to switch up. Maybe he could grab a fork or something, or a butter knife, or something, something different to kill his victims. But I was actually pretty let down with the kills. I mean, none of them were really anything out of the ordinary that we would not have seen and Scream 1, 2, 3, or 4. I mean, it was just basically the same stab wound, stab wound, stab wound. If anything, the scene with Judy Hicks and her son Wes, that scene alone was something that was just like, oh, wait a minute, wait, what are we doing here? That's the only scene and that's the only kill that actually had me a little bit shook, because the tension and the build up to it, and I did not expect Ghostface to just jump out at Judy Hicks when she got to the house, and he just kept stabbing her outside in public daylight, like on her porch. And I'm like, so where does she live that there's no neighbors watching, there's nobody walking their dog, there's no crying children anywhere around? I mean, did the neighbors hate her or something? Like, because I'm thinking, how can Ghostface really just get away with just killing Judy Hicks out on her porch so easily like that? And then when he killed Wes, after, I was at least waiting to see, okay, let's see, Wes is about to open up the front door and see his mom hanging on a tree or something, like Ghostface did to Casey Becker in Scream 1. That's what I thought that they were gonna go with. I'm like, okay, maybe they're gonna do a callback to that kill, that opening kill, but they didn't. But then when Ghostface tried to fight Wes, and then you see him stabbing him through his face, and you see the knife just poking out through his cheek. I'm like, wait a minute, damn. Like, how graphic are we getting with that? So I thought that was the only memorable kill, in my opinion, besides Dewey, but we'll get to that the whole movie had. So I was a bit disappointed. And honestly, I felt like towards the end of the movie, when Sidney and Gail were heading over to Stu's original house in Scream 1, I thought that they could have had like a nice car chase or a nice car scene with Ghostface in the car again, maybe kind of like Scream 2, but we didn't get that either. So with the kills, I was pretty let down. What do y'all think? Do y'all think that the kills were okay? I mean, again, Ghostface was brutal, but I don't think he was brutal enough. Now, with the plot of the movie, I thought that it was good. I thought that it was safe. I kept thinking, how are they going to bring back Dewey, Gail, and Sidney back to Woodsboro? What is going to be this huge reason for them to reunite all together? And Dewey, he still lives in Woodsboro. He lives in a trailer park. He looks dusty. He hasn't showered since Scream 4. He's not with Gail Weathers anymore. Gail and Dewey tried to live together in New York City, and they just couldn't make it work, or at least Dewey couldn't make it work. His heart always relied on Woodsboro. For some reason, he just kept going back to that town, and he just couldn't make it outside, so they eventually broke it off. But I thought that they should have at least explained it a little bit better, or at least had like a flashback scene to what happened. I mean, yeah, we got like a brief synopsis of what happened in the relationship, but I wish we would have gotten a little bit deeper, or a little bit more connection between both of them, because we kind of just see both of them in a scene for like 5 seconds, and then next thing you know, Dewey dies. So, you know, and then as for Sidney, I'm thinking, okay, how are they going to bring her back? Dewey's understandable. He's connected to Gail. That's okay. She has to do the news, so of course she might have to cover this. But Sidney, she's just living her best life, and I don't know where she was, in a different town, a different state. And then Dewey just randomly calls her like, hey, Sidney, it's happening again. And I'm thinking, okay, just because somebody's dressed as Ghostface killing somebody in Woodsboro, why does Sidney have to be connected to that? Why can't it just be some lunatic that's just like, oh, okay, I just want to be inspired from the stab movies? Why does Sidney have to be involved? Like, I just kept thinking, if I was Sidney and I was jogging with my children, I would have been like, Dewey, leave me the fuck alone. Stop calling me for this shit every 10 years. Like, for what? You know, but I mean, I guess they needed a reason for Sidney to come back. So we also find out that the character of Sam is the daughter of Billy Loomis himself, the killer from Scream 1. And I thought that this was such a good plot twist to the whole franchise, because we don't really get a backstory of who this person is that Billy Loomis had this child with. I mean, when did he do this? Did he do this while he was with Sidney, behind her back? Did he cheated on her? Like, what happened with that? So if they do decide to have a sequel from this movie specifically, that's a huge plot right there that they could surround the movie around. But Sam, she's having these hallucinations, these conversations with Billy Loomis in her head. Next thing you know, the actor who plays Billy Loomis, Ski Ulrich, he pops up on screen. And when he popped up, I almost fainted. I'm like, that's Billy Loomis. Oh my goodness, I know him. Like, I became such a groupie. I thought that was such a cool callback. I mean, there was a couple speculations that he was already in the movie, but to see him right then and there in the screen, it was a huge moment. I loved it, and I love how they incorporated him into the movie. And every time I kept seeing him, I'm like, is he trying to train her to be the next killer? Because technically, he was a bad guy in the movie, in the franchise. So, I mean, why is she still having these conversations and looking at him for help when, in fact, he's the killer? So, Richie, who is Sam's boyfriend, ends up being one of the 2 killers at the end of the movie. And I just did not expect that. I mean, everybody kept saying, oh, yeah, we all saw that coming. Yeah, we saw that from a mile away. But for me, it flew right over my head, because I really thought he was innocent throughout the entire movie. Not once did I ever really speculate him. I mean, my speculation on who Ghostface was throughout the entire movie kept changing every 5 seconds, because I kept thinking that it was going to be Sam, and Sam was just going to be hallucinating in her head like, oh wait, who did these killings? Who attacked me? Who just came after me? Who came after my sister? When in fact it was all on her, and maybe she was just suffering from something from Billy and the trauma that, you know, of being a killer's daughter. You know, I felt like Billy was probably in her head like, yeah, you're going to be my protege. You need to be a killer just like your daddy. Like, you need to kill all these people in Woodsboro. You need to do this to lure out Sidney so you could get revenge for your dad. That's the type of plot that I thought was going to happen, but obviously it didn't. Amber. Amber was the other killer who was the friend of the group, and their motives. I mean, their motives were interesting. Their motives were basically, oh yeah, we don't really like how the Stab series, which is their whole horror movie franchise within the movie itself, how it really played out. It's already on its 8th movie, and we just don't really like the direction that it's going in. We kind of want to direct our own movie, so that way they can know like a couple of ideas for the next Stab movie. So we're gonna create our own movie. So I thought it was okay. It was an interesting plot. I mean, I thought it could have been a little bit stronger. It could have been a little bit better, but I thought it was good. I thought it was safe. But this is what I also honestly thought. I really thought that Stu was gonna be the other killer. Like, it was just the perfect chance for him to come back. I mean, technically, he was supposed to be back in Scream 3, but you know, that didn't happen for obvious reasons. But I just really thought it was gonna be Stu. Throughout the entire movie, I'm like, okay, if it's not Sam, it's gonna be Stu. Like, it has to be Stu because we already got Billy, so of course he's gonna be the big surprise, the big reveal. He's gonna be the killer. And I mean, I don't want to say I was disappointed with the 2 killers. I was just okay with it. I was just like, okay, their motives, it's okay and it's understandable because nowadays, that's exactly how fans are and audiences are. If they're watching a show, if they're watching a movie, and they don't get certain plot twists or they don't get certain plots that, you know, they want in the movies, they get pissy, they get mad. They're like, wait, no, fuck this movie. I'm not going to see the sequel, blah, blah, blah. I mean, look at the Halloween movies. And look what I just said at the beginning of this video. So it's true. The whole entire 3rd act of the movie went pretty good because they utilized the entire house from the first movie pretty well. I mean, they went up the stairs, they flew over balconies, they were in closets, they were just all over the house. And we got like this nostalgic feeling like, oh, okay, this feels like the first Scream movie, but it's kind of like a revamped version. And I love the callback to Randy Meek's iconic scene when he was on the couch watching the Halloween movie and he was telling Jamie Lee Curtis, a character, which is her name is Jamie in the Halloween movie, turn around, Jamie, turn around. But this time, his niece, who's actually in the same spot that he was in the first movie, she actually turns around and Ghostface was right there and he actually attacks her. So I thought that was a good twist. I thought that was a nice addition to it. I really enjoyed seeing Gail bring out her tougher side in this scene by just punching Amber, one of the killers, in the face. I mean, it was like a free-for-all. It was Sydney versus the killer versus Gail. It was like a triple threat match at WrestleMania for the women's championship. It was just crazy. I mean, they were really good. But it's just one question that I have. Did you have to waste the vodka bottle on her head? Like, she threw the whole bottle of vodka at Amber's head and it smashed against it. And I'm like, well, so much for mimosas. But I thought it was a really good fight scene. All over the kitchen counter table and everything. Again, it was just so nostalgic because this is the exact same place where Sydney took on Stu and Billy at the same time in the first movie. So I just love that they incorporated Gail this time. And I thought that when they shot her in the stomach, I thought that was done. Like, she wasn't going to be used for the rest of the movie. But I'm glad that she had her superpowers and she became an X-Men. And she was like, oh, no, it's just a bullet in my stomach. It's nothing. Let me just take this out. Okay, Amber, I'm whooping your ass now. Then I like that Sydney was just like, oh no, you do the honors, because obviously Amber was the one that killed Dewey. And can we just talk about that for 1 second? I mean, Dewey's death, I mean, there's just a couple questions I have with that because it took place in the hospital where Jenna Ortega's character, Tara, was healing from her stab wounds from the very beginning of the movie. But my thing is, she's healing here and Ghostface is trying to kill her and trying to come after her. But there's nobody on this floor of the hospital. Like, what happened? Where's the nurses? Where's the doctors? Where's security? Where is anybody? I mean, did everybody just decide to, oh, we're all going to go on break. We're all going to go to Applebee's down the street all at the same time? Like, what's going on? There was just one cop that was laid out on the floor just dead. So, I mean, I could twist my disbelief in movies for a good period of time, but I was just kind of confused on that. There was no explanation for that. Same thing with Judy Hicks's murder when she just got killed in front of her house in broad daylight with nobody around, like not even one witness. I don't know. But again, I'll let it slide because I love the franchise, so it's okay. But when Dewey went back, because, obviously he had shot the killer up, and it was Amber because Richie was already with Sam and Tara. So obviously this had to be Amber underneath the costume, underneath the Ghostface costume. When he was going back, I'm like, okay, what's about to happen? Because he's like, oh no, I need to remember, I need to shoot them in the head. I need to shoot them in the head to make sure that they're dead. He looked down for 1 quick second, and then Amber got up in the Ghostface costume and sliced him up. And I'm like, okay, he's just gonna survive this, right? Like, that's it. He's just gonna get a stab wound and then he's obviously gonna kill them or something. Like, that's gonna happen. But no, it was a huge plot twist because Amber stabs him and stabbed him, and then she brings out another knife And I'm like, oh my, what's about to happen now? And then she stabs him in the back, literally, and then she scrapes it up. And I'm like, like the entire scene I was watching, like with my mouth open. I had goosebumps, I had shivers, I was shocked because I just did not expect that. I'm like, wait, is Dewey really about to die? And then I love the scene that Ghostface says, it's an honor. Like, it was so good. It was so chilling. I thought that was the icing on the cake. I thought that was the cherry on top when he said, it's an honor. Like, and it's crazy because they fooled us in the trailer with thinking, oh, hey, Sydney, it's an honor. You know, in the trailer, we all thought that Ghostface was going to say that to Sydney one-on-one, but obviously they took it out of context and it was for Dewey, and that's how Dewey died. And I love the shot when they kind of pan over and Dewey's body is just all on the floor and Ghostface is just standing over him like, yeah, I did that. I think that they did a pretty good choice by choosing Dewey to die, because if it was Gail, I mean, Gail had this tough exterior, so will people really be emotionally attached to her? I mean, I know I would because I like her character, but I feel like Dewey was more softer, more playful, more, you know, cutesy, so it was kind of hard for the fans to probably see him kind of die, and who knows, maybe we'll see him, not kind of, but actually die. But who knows? Maybe we'll see him in a flashback in a future movie or whatever. But I'm glad that they finally broke up the whole, you know, the Fantastic Four, or the Fantastic Three, that is Sydney, Gail, and Dewey. Also, did y'all notice that one scene where Richie was in his room watching those YouTubers have a conversation? Those two YouTubers are actual YouTubers here on YouTube. Like, they belong to the channel Dead Meat. James and Chelsea, both of them, they belong to that channel. So when I saw them on the big screen, I freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, I know them. I know James and Chelsea. I watch them every other week. I just met them this past October. And I'm thinking, oh wait, so technically I'm in the new Scream movie, right? By association? But I thought that was such a cool thing to do for both of them, because both of them are huge fanatics of the franchise. So I thought it was just so cool to see them on the big screen. And if y'all noticed, and if you squint a little bit, on the side, you know how YouTube has, recommended videos? There was one video that says, interview with Ghostface survivor, Kirby. And I'm like, okay, so Kirby is still alive. She is still alive in the Scream universe. So hopefully if they do have a sequel, they bring her back for the next movie or something, because I really enjoyed her character in Scream 4, and everybody enjoyed her character. And we all thought that she was actually going to be a part of this movie, but maybe they're setting it up for her to come back in the next movie. And hopefully Stu also comes back in the next movie. Overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was so good. I thought it was well done, like a cheeseburger. I thought they did a fantastic job with the cast, with how they incorporated Sydney, Gail, and Dewey, and even killing Dewey off. They finally had the nerves to actually take it there in this movie. So it was so good to the point where I stayed after the credits, because I know that that's a thing nowadays, mostly with superhero movies, where after the credits, they give some type of hint to a sequel or some other spin-off movie. So I'm thinking, okay, this movie kind of ended on a good term. Like, it could end here and we don't ever have to see another sequel. It ended perfectly. But I'm like, okay, maybe there's something after that. Maybe Sam loses it, or maybe Sam is going to do something to Tara in the ambulance. I really thought that Sam was going to do something to Tara, or Tara was going to stab her or betray her, or like give a hint that she's like the third killer or something. But no, there was none of that. But again, if there is a sequel, I think that they have a lot of material to go from. From one, Stu, they could bring him back, because we all know that he possibly lived from the whole TV thing on his head. Two, we could see Sam's mom. We could see where she at. Like, is she the killer? She's gonna be looking out for Sydney, or possibly kill off Sam or something, because she doesn't have a good relationship with her. Or Kirby could be the new final girl if we're gonna move away from Sydney and Gail. I feel like they can do it because this cast was really, really good. I feel like Tara, Jennifer Ortega, and Sam, Melissa Barrera, I feel like both of them can maybe carry a Scream franchise without so much use of Gail and Sydney. But what do y'all think? Do y'all think that there could be another Scream movie without the original two characters? Because now Dewey's dead, so we won't see him anymore. But I feel like they could, especially if they bring back Kirby, another beloved character. But overall, I would give it an 8 out of 10. Only because of the kills. I just wish that the kills were a little bit more elaborate, a little bit more bloody, and we had a proper chase scene, because we didn't really get any type of chase scene that's like full of tension. Similar to Gail's chase scene from Scream 2, where that was so much tension, it was so much hype. We didn't really get that here. I really wish that we would have gotten to see much more different types of killings from Ghostface, like use different weapons or different ways of doing it besides a regular stab. So if they do decide to make another movie, hopefully they take that into consideration. But again, let me know what y'all thought about this movie. Again, I thought it was so amazing. It was so fantastic. I wish I could see it again, but I feel like I don't want to anytime soon. Like I still want it to marinate. And then maybe in the future when it comes out on DVD or online or whatever, then I'll take another check at it. But hopefully they make another one as well. Also, side note too, I really hope that they change the title of it. I mean, if there was to be another sequel after this, they can't name it Scream 2. So what are they gonna name it? Like Scream Louder or Scream, like what? What would y'all give the sequel to this one? What would y'all name the next Scream? That's what I want to know. I don't know what I will name it. I think it'll probably be Scream Louder. I think that would be good. Or Scream, the final cut or something like that. But again, let me know what y'all thought about this movie down in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Bye y'all. Mwah.